So you're in the room with the interviewer and it gets down to the last question they ask. And that question is, do you have any questions for us? And you are hung up. You don't know what to ask. Well, hopefully that won't be you, because I'm going to have a list of questions that you can ask the employer when they ask you if you have any questions for them. Well, hello, school counselors and school counselors to be. Thank you guys so much for coming to my channel, The Inspiring School Counselor. And today I am getting ready to just give you some questions that you can ask when you are in the interview process. So let's not prolong the time. If you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe, as well as make sure you hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. All right, let's get into it. That these questions are not written down in any specific order. So when I'm asking these questions, it's going to make it seem like, well, wait a minute, these questions are all over the place. That's because it is, but you guys feel free to write them down in the order that you see fit. So the first question that I have written down here is, what is a school counselor's working space? Now, the reason why I have this written down, because I think it's important for you to know what kind of space that you are going to be working with if it is that you get hired for the school counselor position. You want to know, are you going to be in a classroom? Or are you going to be in like an office setting? Or do you not have a classroom or an office setting? Is all your things going to be on a rolly cart? You just don't know what the setup is. And so by you kind of having that idea through asking them and them telling you, is that you are able to kind of plan, how you would want that working space to look like for you. So that is a question that you can ask. Another question that I have written down is this a trauma-informed school or a school that uses PBIS? And PBIS stands for a positive behavior intervention system. So the reason why you want to ask this is just to see if there's any type of system that they are using to help address behavior issues or academic or social emotional needs. And so that will kind of give you like the climate of the school, the environment of the school. How is it that they are, trying to impact the students, not only academically, but also touching their social and emotional needs, as well as their behavior. And so that is something that's important to ask. And two, because if you don't know much about trauma-informed, then maybe you can start doing some studying on trauma-informed and how you can center your school counseling program around that. Or maybe you don't know about PBIS. Maybe you can do some studying on that so that you can see how you can incorporate your school counseling program to complement what it is that they have at the school. I know that I shared this before with you guys, but when I came into the school that I'm at currently, it was a trauma-informed school. And through time, I was able to work with my administrator as well as faculty and staff to try to merge the two, trauma-informed and PBIS. And so, like I said, that took a lot of collaborative meetings and just working together. So the next question I have is, what are the duties and roles expected from the school counselor? Now, I know when I asked this question, I actually directed it towards the school counselor that was there, but you can also ask this to the administrators. And I think it's very important to actually really just direct this towards the administrators of the school. And that is because you want to understand, what their views are and ideas concerning what a school counselor should be doing in their thought process. And by you being able to listen, their views and their ideas will give you an idea of what you will be getting into, basically, because if you are in a school that the administrator just believes that a school counselor should be teaching lessons all day, every day, and doing nothing else, then I don't think that you should be involved in that type of environment, because you as a school counselor is not just teaching lessons. It goes into individual counseling. It goes into family resources. It goes into all these different type of avenues that you can help advocate and help the students succeed. Maybe the administrator believes that you should be sitting at a desk doing scheduling and testing all day. Then I don't believe that you need to be a school counselor in that type of environment unless you plan on going into that school and educating the administrators of what your roles and duties should be as a school counselor and backing that up with research and data. Another reason why you're going to want to ask that question is just so that you can plan, so you can get things together, center your school counseling program around some of the duties and roles that you are going to be doing. And that's very important too. You're also going to be able to know if you have, car duty or bus duty, or if you have doing 504s or testing. So you're just going to want to get an overall view of what it is that you're going to have to be doing at that school. So another thing that I have written down is, I know that the schedule for a school counselor varies day to day, but what is the typical schedule for the school counselor? I would actually direct this towards the school counselor that might be in the room. I know for the interview that I had at the school that I'm at currently, the school counselor was there. And so I was able to direct that to the school counselor. And the reason why you want to bring that up is just so that you can just get a gist of what a day would look like. And I think it's also important for you to mention that you do know that the schedule can always change, but you just want her or him to give a general idea of what that day could possibly look like. Another question I have written down here is, what does the evaluation process look like for the counselor? Is it announced or unannounced, or is it both? The reason why I have this written down as a question, and you're probably thinking like, well, why would you ask that right now? Like you don't even have your foot in the door yet. Still yet, I think this is a good question because you're able to see what the administrator's views are concerning the evaluation process and how that should look like for you. That's going to tell you a lot, as well as how much you are going to have to work together and you educating the administrator on how that evaluation process should look like. I actually talk about that more in depth in my video that I posted, and I'll actually put it in the description below so that you guys can go watch that. Because school counselors should have an announced evaluation. It should never be unannounced. And so I go more in detail with that in a video that I posted a little bit ago. So I'll put that down in the description below if you want to know more about that. Another question that you can ask is, do you or a school district provide professional development for me to expand my knowledge as a school counselor? I think that this is a great question to ask. For one, you are showing the interviewer that, look, you are wanting to develop professionally. You're wanting to progress. You're wanting to find ways that you can just perfect your career. And so that is a great sign to be able to show them. And also, if you are truly, and hopefully you guys really want to progress professionally, it also gives you an opportunity to see if they really invest in professional development, especially for school counselors. And so it's important to get into that. And that actually brings me to the next question that I would ask, which is there any school counselor collaborations? Is it ever a time that you, along with other school counselors, are going to be able to come together and just talk about different things that's happening in the school system, happening in the world, and how they can address different issues that are arising amongst the students? And so that is a good question to ask. And if you do have a school counselor that is in the interview process with you, then you can direct that to them. Or you can direct it to the administrator, and hopefully they're able to answer that question. What are the different school counselor programs you have implemented, and is that something you would like for me to continue? So this, once again, can be a question, which is really a question that is geared towards the school counselor that is already there. But hope maybe the administrator will be able to answer this as well. and you're just able to see what they have already implemented, and if it is something that they're wanting you to continue to just take on and do. And that also would get into those duties and roles that they expect of you. That is something that you can still ask. The next question you can ask them is, are there any cross-cultural activities for students? And this just gives an opportunity for you to just see, how are they trying to impact all the students at the school? If it's a predominantly white school, and maybe they have, some Asians and some Mexicans and some, Black African American people, you just want to see how they are, providing different cultural activities and different things that's going to be able to address all the students. Maybe it's a predominantly Black school that has some white and some Asians and some Mexicans. What is being done to be able to address all of the students and to provide opportunities for all the students to feel like they are a part of the school? And so that's a great question to ask as well. And the last question that I have on here, which you would want to save this for the end, which is, when will you notify candidates on your decision? All right. You always want to leave the room. If you can't think of no questions, at least ask that, okay? And the reason why I say ask this question is just so that you can, just know the timeline and what they are working with and what you have to work with, and so that you can just have a gist of when you would be notified if it is that you are going to get the position. So I hope this video was able to help you guys. If you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. I thank you guys so much for your time, and I'll see you guys next time.